right, here we go then. I want to welcome everyone to the McMinnville Short Film Festival question and answer session following our drama comedy session number 3. I'm Ray Robison. I'm on the board of directors for the McMinnville Short Film Festival. And just for our filmmakers here, I'm actually not up north in McMinnville. I live in the southern part of the state, but love traveling up there every year to visit the festival. It's about 300 miles north of here. So what we're going to start out doing is just like to find out your motivation, inspiration. Why did you make your film? And we're going to go left, right, top to bottom, as I see everyone on my screen here anyway, to see what inspired you. So I'm going to start with Anna Mendes, who lives up in Portland, though used to be in Ashland, I know. And your film is A Friend of Mine.
Yeah, awesome. Hello, everyone. Yeah, my name is Anna Mendes. I was the director of A Friend of Mine. And my film partner, the co-writer and director of photography, Danny, who couldn't be here today, him and I were inspired to write this story to just kind of just put it out there. You know, we don't really see that in every day in the media. And if we do, you know, it's hardly noticed. So we wanted to show that this is a real life thing and it happens to people that we know, and just know that like there is help. You know, you can always reach out to anyone. So we were inspired to do that as our capstone, just to go big with the story.
Okay. Okay, so Heather Tyler, Postpartumm. I just watched that one this morning, and you're in Los Angeles, right?
Yes, I am in LA. I wrote Postpartumm very quickly, and it happened as a part of my coming to terms with the postpartum anxiety that I was experiencing before I even really knew that that was a thing. So I made the film to both confront the issue for myself, and being a creator, it's something that that artistic journey is something that helps me kind of live and heal. And I realized that there were a lot of other women who have gone through these things over a myriad of years without even knowing that there was such a classification. So that was my inspiration. And the flip side of that is that I was also not a typical LA mom, in that I didn't I didn't know that certain things existed, like you know, mommy and me to prepare for the baby, and eating your placenta, and having a birth plan, and gender reveal parties. Like, that was just way out of my comfort zone. So I wanted to make sure that I told the story in a way that was authentic to me and hopefully other people, but also was humorous enough so that people didn't feel alienated talking and watching. So I decided to go ahead and share some of those aspects of my naivete, which helped fuel the story forward.
Thank you. Actually, it was an interesting blend. Like I said, I watched it this morning, and when I first started watching it, I looked, oh, it's a comedy, and then went, oh, it's not a comedy, and oh, it is, you know. So
I call it a drama.
It was a great blend. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Karthik, Prasad, and Window of Life is your film. You are currently somewhere in Northern California, right?
Yes. So, yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Karthik. I am a graduate student at Columbia College, Chicago. There's a big story behind this film, but I want to keep it short. We actually shot this film in April in 2020, after the pandemic began and the lockdown was happening. I was working on a feature-length narrative of a coming-of-age story for an immigrant woman. And after I reached like 64th, 65th page, I was thinking, how am I going to shoot it in real in the next coming years? And then that's when my sister, whom I'm currently living with, gave me the idea, why don't you shoot a short film about this? And then we'll see if it's really working out, where can we take it? And then I didn't have any equipment. I just had a camera with me. I didn't have anything. I didn't have lights. I didn't have a mic. So I was thinking, what can I do at this point? And then we just thought, let's make a silent film and let's just go with visuals. So the story of this film is inspired by my sister, my friends, and a lot of other people I've met throughout my stay in the United States. And I took parts of their lives with their permission at times and without their permission at times. Yeah, and I made it into a 3-minute narrative. Each minute is 1 year of their life. That's that was my intention in making the film. And yeah, as you have seen it, you might recognize what I'm saying at this point.
All right, thank you. All right, so Bonnie and Bret Hart, Coffee with Extras is your film, and you're also in LA.
Yes, yes.
We are in LA, rainy LA, as Heather will attend to, I'm sure. Yeah, so Coffee with Exes is our film.
I was the director and our starlet and writer and exec producer. Bonnie's an exec producer. She's not available, but we are here representing.
Sorry, we're glitching. We're our own little film right now.
It's really hard for us to focus on being here.
It's like, yeah. Yeah, so the film is it started because Jessica Bishop, the writer, amazing writer, hilarious comedic writer, great actress, and executive producer as well. She came to us, I think we went out for drinks one night, and she had broken up with a boyfriend and he had returned all her things. And so she said, well, I wonder what it would be like to have, a coffee with every ex, you've had or whatever. So that's how it all kind of began. And so, it's a great, I think, a really good example of someone's journey through finding themselves, thinking they need to find it in someone else or someone else to find it in them, to only realize they don't need finding it all, or if they did, they can do it themselves. So I think it's kind of, I think every great comedy has that poignant aspect to it, something to take from it, something to learn from. So we really love it. We love the diversification in the cast. And so we're very excited to be part of the film.
And I guess ultimately it becomes a story of going from codependence to independence and finding love for yourself. And Jess is so good at making lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah.
And so she turned a lot of her story, some of it's truthful, not all of it, into fun celebration of dating.
One of her exes is one of the characters as well. Funny enough, there it is. But yeah, so there's a feature film being that's written as well. So this was kind of our beginning, kind of feel out for it. So we're excited to move forward.
We finished about this time last year, and before we could do a premiere, the pandemic hit. So this is an honor to be with you folks right now and be able to share our little love note.
Exactly.
Well, that's great, because I've heard from other filmmakers that they've not had the opportunity yet to show it very much because of the pandemic. So great that people are getting to see your film. All right, Lance Larson, Velcro's your film, and another one from Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, originally Los Angeles. When the pandemic hit, I moved back to Austin, Texas. So I'd been in Los Angeles the last 15 years. I still work in Los Angeles. I just work remotely. So I work for Fox. Been there for almost 10 years now. So it's been actually, pandemic's awful, but it's worked out really good for me, just being able to come back to Texas, and I love Austin. And so, yeah.
And so motivation to make the film Velcro.
Motivation, buddy of mine, Chris White, who wrote it and acted in it. We were just at a bar having drinks, and we, for whatever reason, started talking about thread count, which is really an awkward subject. And we realized how stupid we sounded and thought this is a great idea for a short. So we just wrote it and did it. And we wanted to just do it really fast. We thought, okay, let's get this script churned out, and then let's just shoot it like in 2 weeks. And we did it. It was a lot of fun. Just try to make something very awkward.
Well, it wasn't. And yeah, when you said thread count, I don't think I was 50 years old till I even heard the term. So I was glad at least I knew what you were talking about when that came up. All right, thank you. Laura Zach, Proof of Loss, and still in Los Angeles?
Also drove cross country to be in the same house with my whole family right now. So I'm back at my parents' house with also my brother, who is our EP, Graham Walrazak, and his wife and daughter and 3 dogs. So we're doing that kind of like all under one roof COVID situation, which is a little bit apropos for the film because it's very family themed, and there was a lot of family efforts involved in making it. But the original inspiration was when I originally moved to Los Angeles. We have dear family friends who live up in Santa Rosa in wine country, and my brother was living there as well. And in the 2017 Tubbs fire, they lost their home and their vineyard in that fire. And through the years of visiting them and spending holidays with them, we really came to become close with a lot of the people who ended up being impacted by the fire. And of course, unfortunately, especially for California, and I know Oregon as well, the fires are becoming sort of a when, not if. And we just were interested in exploring the human impact of how one moves forward from potentially losing a home full of your memories and family memories.
All right. So where do you live now then? You said you moved.
Oh, I'm in New Hampshire now, but just temporarily. Yeah, I'm heading back to Los Angeles in a couple weeks, or to California and then eventually Los Angeles, waiting for the numbers to come down a little bit.
Hopefully soon. Had my vaccine a couple days ago, by the way. So
oh, congratulations.
Good.
Great news.
All right, so the next question, which I think it's sort of a unique question because of our current times and situation with COVID and dealing with it as filmmakers. I know some of you shot prior to the pandemic, but nonetheless, you're dealing with being a filmmaker in these past 10 months. So if you can't, if you shot during the pandemic, how was that? If you've been trying to film something since, how's that been going? And how's it been going trying to get your film out there during the pandemic as well? So again, starting up at Anna.
Yeah, so for our capstone, it turned into, instead of a quarter, just 10 weeks to, make a portfolio or film, it changed into a whole year process. So Danny and I started in our last year, our senior year, fall term, which was like the writing, which we had written over the summer. So we had a little head start, but we went through a lot of rewrites, as one does. And it was a totally different story as we went through. And so once we got our final draft, we started filming or preparing to film in like winter term. And we had, once we had finished the majority, we had one scene, and we had to wait due to scheduling, and then the pandemic hit. So our last term for spring was all online, and we had to change a scene. So when Travis is on the phone with his mom, that was supposed to be like a whole family dinner scene with his parents, his sister, and we like really got to see the dynamic a little bit more. But with guidelines, we had to cut down actors, cut down crew, fix the whole like scene within a week. And so we had maybe 5 people on set, all wearing masks and trying to distance. And that's why we filmed outside. So like I can be in the corner directing, and Danny was the only one like right by our actor. So that was very, very hard to have something like so good and have to change it. And it was still great, don't get me wrong. And I had to direct the mom, like the voiceover over Zoom. That was also interesting to record it over the computer. It was my professor's wife, Chris and Julie Lucas. And so that was also first time doing that. But for right now, I haven't really filmed, which is so sad. I haven't really like filmed much after graduation, but I've been writing some TV series. My roommate and I were wanting to do a series. We have a couple episodes in. I'm currently writing a little short script of a little breakup like adventure. It's a long story, but yeah, instead of filming, I think writing down and saving up stories, so when I am able to like go out and have a big crew and actors, I think save it for a rainy day.
Great. All right, Heather. So when did you film? How did COVID affect it, or did it affect it?
Thankfully, our picture was locked, and we were just finishing locking our well, we were almost picture locked right at the end of COVID. So thankfully, all of the time with my director, very talented Faith Stronghart, and my editor, Zebra Tidwell, we were able to come to our last meeting like shortly before the lockdown started happening. So basically we were working in post during the shutdown. So that worked well. I also left town at the beginning of the shutdown when LA was at its first peak. And I was able to manage the production in post from remote locations. So that was pretty much the best spot we could be in. However, I did decide to really postpone the festival circuit. This is actually our second festival. I decided early on that lacking that in-person networking and just the energy of being in the room, as we all know, is so important, and it's just, that's the magic, right? And just hugging people and sharing and having that glass of wine afterwards to really dig in and understand everybody's process and motivation. I just thought, we just finished it. I don't have to rush. Maybe I'll wait it out a while. And as I started to talk to other filmmaker friends, they suggested that, it feels different, but actually when you engage in a situation that is virtual, like I see all of your names in front of me and I've seen your films and I can email you because we're in the same chain. Sometimes that's harder to come by in person when there's so much going on. So they convinced me to maybe reconsider my strategy and really handpick a few festivals, which obviously we should do anyway, but to consider doing the ones virtually that could be of benefit and that you would have something to share as well. And so you guys I'm not joking about this. McMinnville was on the list from a lot of people, which is why I was just so excited to be a part of this. So thank you. And then since then, I've been working on a series where we're shooting remotely, not just with other people here in LA, but some fellows back in Chicago as well. And we're trying something where we've cut a few episodes together with mixed results because, filmmaking is a visual medium. And so if you are only shooting remotely and you're using Zoom and your own personal setups with your own talent or lack thereof for creating your lighting and sound, it has been a learning experience. We've got something that we're not sure if we want to put out there yet. So to be perfectly honest, we've learned from this process about what works and what doesn't. And I believe that we will most likely kind of table the project and use pieces of it to create something in the future when we can get a few shots that are outside of our homes. So that's what I've learned. I mean, I've done it, I'm proud of it, but I just don't think it serves what we wanted to do with the project. And that's just the reality of where we are right now.
Well, thanks. That sounds like a good way to go. Okay, Karthik, how's COVID affected you?
Yes, in a lot of ways. And we shot our film at the peak of first wave. It was back at the end of April when COVID was like hitting peaks in the USA during the first wave, and everyone was at home. After 2 months of just writing, attending classes, I was getting bored and I wanted to make a film. And I knew there were going to be a lot of COVID films going forward. So I just didn't want to get into that genre. I wanted to make something which was universal, which can be seen at any time, and which had content which I was speaking truly. So as I said, I got inspiration for this story from a lot of women I met here, a lot of my family members and friends. And I didn't have any equipment. I couldn't rent. So I was going online checking for camera rentals. There was nothing in our area that we can go and pick up. So there was, I just had my Sony A7 III with me and one lens. And I didn't have a mic. I actually put an order, but they said we can only deliver it after 28 days. So like, okay, this is like, every step I was taking was actually challenging. It was getting very tough and difficult. And there is a saying, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. That's what like I feel I did. Okay, I now have to make a strategy. What can I do just within a house and a couple of exterior shots for like few seconds outside the house. And I was thinking, okay, I can't do anything with sound, so this has to be a silent film. And I just had a composer friend of mine who lives back in Chicago, so I asked him, hey, I have this idea and it's going to be a silent film, but I just want you to compose the music. And we were discussing music before we even shot the film. So music kind of inspires me to design shots. So that's something my composer helped me with. And when we shot the film, we had one actor, it happens to be my sister, who helped me a lot throughout, but there was one shot where I needed 3 more people. And it was in the middle of COVID, so we had to ask some favors. Initially, our plan was to shoot in the middle of April, but since we wanted one shot with 3 actors, we had to ask them, hey, can you please quarantine for 2 weeks so we can call you to our home and shoot this one shot? And they were so generous. They're friends of mine and my sister, so they were so generous. They just came and they just did what I said and they just went back. They never asked me any favor in return. They said, yeah, we know you, we just want to help you. I thank them a lot. And that's what I learned during COVID, that it's only the people who are with you, truly with you, they are the ones who are going to help you. It was not a stranger or someone who came just help me. It was people I knew from long time who went out of their way to help me. And I took it as a challenge. It was one book I read a few years back. It was Rebel Without a Crew by Robert Rodriguez. When I read the book, he explained about how he made his film El Mariachi without any crew. And I was like, one day maybe I can make this film. And yeah, it came true. I was the writer, editor, cinematographer, director. I used a couple of lights, so I was even the gaffer for the film. And yeah, that's the story behind this film.
Okay, thank you. So moving over to Coffee with Exes, I assume from watching that it was done pre-pandemic, but was it?
Yeah, so it was supposed to have been shot around Thanksgiving of 20, can you see me?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Around 2016, we were going to do it in Thanksgiving, and then my father passed away, so we had to reschedule. And we ended up shooting about 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before the pandemic, I think.
Yeah.
And when we were, I'm sorry about the flickering, it's driving me nuts.
I know. I'm about ready to
but when we were shooting that, we shot it through the night, and Jess had like about 2 more characters that she went in there. I said, there's no way we're gonna get this done. So we had to cut it out, and we were finishing as the sun was rising, and they were like, well, can we come back? I'm like, no. And I'm really glad, because I would not have gone back to shoot anymore. We have been in lockdown. We're on Beechwood underneath the Hollywood sign. And we've been directing, co-producing a project with a team out of Oklahoma that I was a creative director for, and with the president. And we're doing a documentary with this really cool gear. It's not Zoom, but we use Zoom so we can communicate. And I'm basically directing. And right now, actually, as we speak, we are processing through Resolve footage. We have all this footage that's taken months to process. So it's weird, through lockdown, we've actually been thriving in production because, you know, I'm not going to risk Bonnie's health or life to shoot. And like you were saying, I don't know if I would trust a lot of people to actually quarantine themselves for 2 weeks. So I applaud you for finding someone that you can trust.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, and then we ourselves, early on, we were affected by this. We did a music video for Bonnie. It's a beautiful music video that she was in. Why don't you take over? So
it was inspired by the Cure love song, and it was kind of a love note, if you will, to our family and friends. After COVID hit, we're kind of stuck here, holed up in our house, and just wanted to do something. We couldn't see anybody, there's, you know, it was very little, you know how it was at the beginning. It was very scary. We didn't know what was going to happen. We're in the middle of LA, God knows. So we just the 2 of us. I'm holding a light with my foot, you know, it's like that. But we did a music video for it, and we're very proud of it, honestly. Yeah. You can check it out on our website if you want. But
it kind of led to the project we're doing now. Yeah. We're experimenting with black and white and so forth.
Yeah, but we did that, and then like I said, we're in the project. We're doing a project now, writing as well, definitely. Who was talking about that? Anna, yeah. That, you know, writing is a great way to get a lot done ahead of time. So preparation, you know.
Yeah, we're juggling about 3 or 4 projects at one time.
Yeah.
Well, let's move over to Lance then. So your production during COVID, after COVID?
Pre-COVID. So that that was nice. We finished about a month or two before COVID hit. Through this process, I was actually setting up a film, a feature, and kind of through the frustration of seeing COVID coming, and we were literally supposed to shoot the month COVID hit, and so that's kind of Chris and I were having a drink just talking about that, and then realized COVID's not going to happen, or COVID's going to happen, and our film is going to have to get pushed. So we just decided to do this short just to kind of, keep creative. But so we pushed a couple of times trying to find the right time. We're going to shoot this this September, and let's see what else. But I tell you, it's funny. Scheduling's been tough, but good things has come of it. Like this, like being able to do this. Like for instance, meeting with actors, and like I know everybody in Los Angeles. If you've ever cast a feature film or a film in general, there's a whole thing that agents and actors, and you have to go somewhere to meet. It's usually at the Soho House or the Chateau Marmont, and it's always this big thing. Well, this is the way of the future. I love the Zoom because it just cuts through all the BS. Like I'm talking with actors from other countries, and the casting process has gotten very easy because you can just meet and have conversations, and it happens very fast. So I like that. I think that's been very helpful. So there's good and bad that have come from it. Scheduling a film is, it's tricky because of the insurance, and we have an older actor, and really he's obviously really scared to shoot, and that makes sense, and I get that. So we're being sensitive to that, and luckily we have I'm working. You mentioned Robert Rodriguez earlier. I'm actually his ex-wife Elizabeth Avalon is producing my film. She's a wonderful person. She's produced all his films. She's just fantastic, and she actually shot a film during COVID, which is in Sundance this year. It's called The Blazing World, and so she did it during COVID, and she had a lockdown set, and that's how we're planning on shooting ours, the exact same way she did that one, and it so hopefully it goes the way it did with A Blazing World. So nobody cast or crew got it, so it was nice.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Lance. So let's jump back to Bonnie and Brett real quick. Let you wrap up now that you don't have that distracting background.
That was driving me crazy. I
don't even know what we said because I felt like I was in Star Trek wormhole.
Totally.
But yeah, Lance, Miss Austin, I did a show called Ain't It Cool with Harry Knowles. Got it to PBS, and then saw Bonnie.
Yeah, great.
And ended up in Wilsonville, Oregon. You can take it from here.
Wilsonville. See? Wilson. But I'm from Oregon, actually, originally. I'm from Corvallis. So I grew up not too far from McMinnville. So I used to go there all the time. And now there's that cool airplane museum, the biggest one in America, I believe, right? Has a spruce goose and everything there. So I love McMinnville. So I was like, they have a festival.
Yeah, no.
I was so excited. But anyhow.
Yeah, I saw her, and she's an amazing talent. And we moved to like I say, we're right underneath the Hollywood sign. And pandemic is it's a hot zone right here. So we don't play around. We stay inside pretty much. Like
we don't go out. We Instacart. We do not leave the house except to go to this mountain, and then we sit on a hill.
But we work constantly. And what I was saying is that when we did Coffee with Exes, it was supposed to have happened around Thanksgiving. My father passed away. We rescheduled. We changed some actors, some crew, and we shot throughout the night. And we had to let one of the scenes go, and then we had to get an actor in, and he got in like 45 minutes as the sun was rising. We finished shooting as the sun was rising outside, and they're like, "Is it necessary to shoot?" I said, "Absolutely." I had this feeling that there was no way we're going to be able to get back. We may have worn out our welcome, but we're actually really good friends with these people.
Really good people.
And as soon as we wrapped editing it, the COVID, it broke out. The pandemic broke out. So we've been working on projects remotely through some really cool gear that we purchased, and we're shooting in Oklahoma, Texas, Austin. I'm going to be shooting some interviews there, and we're doing a really cool documentary series right now.
Yeah.
But what we're talking about the music video, when you were talking about shooting everything by yourself, that's what we did. We talk about music video.
Well, I was just going to say too, just in terms of Coffee with Exes, is that I'm a composer as well. So I was a singer and opera singer and stuff. And so I do composing. So I did the music for Coffee with the Exes as well. And Brett is like, it's a Karthik. Is that how you say your name properly? I just want to make sure I'm saying it right. Okay. Karthik. Okay, good. Very inspired by music. I mean, our life is a music, is it constantly playing, it's a soundtrack. So anyway, I, instead of, we didn't have that much time or whatever. So I just kind of got all these little excerpts of ideas and concepts that I had that I thought were kind of quirky and fun. And I gave it to him, and then he inserted them at his will. So it was a really fun project to do together for sure. And
so we did that right before the pandemic, and then I think the first project we did afterwards was Love Song, which does have drone shots shot here locally when the streets were vacant, and it was frightening. It looked like something out of on the beach. Other than that, it's shot in our house, and it was just the two of us, like she said, holding curtains and letting them fall into a shot. And that actually, which is crazy, is I think necessity is the mother of all inventions. That music video may have been just the two of us, but I think the production value of it with the new gears out is as good as $1 million movie I did. I'm just really proud of her and the music. And
it was fun. We can't enter it in anything because it's not my song. It's The Cure.
But we're proud to be part of this.
But we love it. And thank you so much for having us. And so great to meet all of you. Really, truly. It's great.
So Laura, I guess you get the last word in here.
So similar to Heather's situation, we were picture locked. We shot in, July of 2019. And so really what COVID delayed was more our festival process than picture. And we similarly kind of held off a little bit, just feeling out how long, because originally people were saying, oh yeah, by June, everything will be normal, June of 2020. I remember when it was first happening. So we did hold off a little bit, had sort of a similar thinking of just realizing this is probably going to be our reality for a while. And it was more the somewhat synchronistically in a negative way, the next fire season that more kind of put a damper on things for us, because my brother Graham, he, after 6 months after we had shot the film about fires, he had to evacuate his home in Healdsburg because of a fire, and then the previous home that they had just moved out of burned down. And he's actually a stonemason up in that region, and he lost all of his masonry equipment on a job site. So we kind of ended up getting a little haunted by the theme of our movie. And also Dylan and Coco, who are a real life father-daughter, who obviously play father and daughter in the film, they also had to leave their house temporarily during one of the fires. So, and then in terms of during COVID, I'm primarily a writer, and thankfully I had a job where I was writing on an animated show, which is obviously the one arena of TV and film right now that's been able to fully move forward ahead. And then I've otherwise just been doing in the live action space a lot of TV development and writing as well, to try to, once we are able to produce again, or I know that we can produce again, but I'm not quite there yet, and wanting to make that happen. So I'm developing one show with Apple, and then I'm set to direct a feature at some point this year, which will be a single location, and just kind of waiting out to see when that feels the most wise.
All right. Well, that sounds positive. Things are moving forward for you. So we are running out of time. But before we do, I would really love to very quickly, if we go around everyone, what are your next plans? What are you doing next? It may be like after all this is done, but what are you thinking of is going to happen next for you as a filmmaker? So Anna?
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, I've been writing a ton since I took more like writing courses back in school and met some writers down in LA. And so I'm currently focusing on that. But once, things hopefully clear up soon, I would love to work either in I'd love to stay in Oregon and film anywhere in the state. So yeah, just focusing on post-grad writing, maybe taking some more writing courses. Grad school is always an option. I don't know for the future, but yeah, I'm focusing on some stuff, but just going day by day. That's all I can really do.
Right. Okay, so Heather, quickly, just what's coming up next for you?
Well, Ray, I'm primarily an actor. This was sort of a one-off for me to write and produce this film. It did it more like television, where I got to control everything as the writer, and I brought in my director. So I'm just talking with my reps about when the trigger is going to be pulled out here on production again. So it's a little bit of standby mode in my world, but that's the life of the LA actor anyway sometimes. So it's nothing that is new to me. So that's where we are.
Hopefully very soon.
Thank you.
All right. Karthik, quickly, what's the next project, anything?
Yeah, I've one project, my thesis film, which I've been planning to shoot since August, but it keeps on delaying since we don't know when things are going to get back to at least okay stage. And yeah, that's my primary goal at this point. And also my feature script got into a competition finals, and I'm with the advice of my professors, I'm sending it to some labs. And hopefully by the end of year, if I can get into some of these labs, I can get some grants to make it into a film.
All right, Bonnie and Brett, production when this all ends.
Yes. So definitely, I mean, so we do everything. I don't know what we don't do. I'm sure that's a lot of you, right? So
Well, we're video, film and video. Yeah.
Film and video department, yeah. So I have a couple of things going on myself, just with a novel I wrote. So it's with an editor right now. So we're going back and forth. I'm trying to get that done and wrapped up. And then we have the feature based on Coffee with Exes that we're going to hopefully move forward with as well. And then we have
Until It's Safe, we are working on this.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, but we did a lot of really wild advertising back in the day that got like showcased on the Daily Show and stuff like that. So
kind of fun.
we're working on working with what we have, and we're trying to work safely and smartly. At the same time, finessing and polishing a project that we're actually thinking about shooting partially in California, Oregon, and Texas.
Yeah.
All right.
Wave, yeah.
Love to see it come up here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Beautiful.
Okay, Lance.
September. We're shooting no matter what. So it's a film called Deadland, elevated genre. It's kind of ironic because Velcro's comedy. I've never done a comedy, so it was just literally stop thinking about Deadland when the pandemic started. Let's just do something different and fun. And Deadland's more dramatic, more it's an elevated genre. So it's just this was a nice kind of departure, Velcro. So.
Where are you going to film Deadland?
On the border. So it's either New Mexico to play for the border or McAllen, Texas, and Big Bend.
Okay, great. All right, Laura.
So as mentioned, just a lot of writing coming up in specifically television development. And then specifically for Proof of Loss, we're hoping to pitch it as a limited series where we explore more expanded the community of different families and how they experience the same fire. So going to be working on that as well. And I would be remiss not to mention that the director of this film was Catherine Fisher. So I was the writer producer, but want to make sure to get her plug in.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us with this. And remember, there's other screenings for you and for the rest of the audience that's watching this. Also, our awards ceremony, all of that online. So stay tuned in February. There'll be lots going on, and hopefully we'll have a chance to connect again some more. Because, like I had mentioned in the last session, it's one of the things I love in the in-person film festivals is when I see a film and I have a chance to just go really talk to the filmmaker afterward over a glass of wine. I love doing that. Maybe next year we'll see you up here and we'll be able to do that. But so many topics that each of you covered, and I'm looking at the Laura with the wildfires. We have so many friends that lost their homes here this last summer. It's just incredible. So would be, maybe one of these days we'll get to talk about that over some wine up here in McMinnville. So anyway, thank you very much. And we'll be seeing you at the awards and some of the other screenings. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you for doing this.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.